When U.S. Navy SEALs stormed Osama bin Laden's compound in 2011, they expected weapons, money, and terrorist plans. What they didn't expect was Pixar movies, anime, and viral YouTube videos. The files they uncovered revealed a bizarre double life, part global terrorist, part everyday internet user. In total, the files amounted to around 470,000 items, roughly 258 gigabytes of data. 4 years, intelligence agencies carefully sifted through the materials, and beginning in 2015, parts of the archive were released to the public. What these files revealed was both shocking and strangely ordinary, painting a picture of a man who was at once a global terrorist mastermind and someone living a surprisingly mundane existence behind closed doors. Among the most important discoveries were bin Laden's personal writings and diaries. These pages provided a rare window into his thinking in the years before his death. He wrote about al-Qaeda's waning influence, the Arab Spring uprisings, and his frustrations with affiliates that often acted independently. He worried about the group's image, particularly how Muslims perceived al-Qaeda after years of violence. His letters showed that he was concerned about maintaining control over franchises like Boko Haram and al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, and he expressed a desire to reshape the organization's strategy. He knew that al-Qaeda was losing relevance compared to newer extremist movements, and his writings captured a man trying desperately to stay at the center of a cause he had launched decades earlier. The archive also contained a massive collection of correspondence, thousands of electronic memos exchanged between bin Laden and his followers. These letters touched on financial management, recruitment, propaganda, and media coverage. He even offered advice to fighters about how to stay safe, such as avoiding Google Earth and other technologies that could give away their positions. The tone of many of these messages was one of control. Bin Laden wanted to remain the guiding hand of his movement, even while isolated in his Pakistani compound. Yet at the same time, they exposed how fractured and disorganized al-Qaeda had become, with affiliates often ignoring his guidance and pursuing their own brutal agendas. Beyond the operational material, what stunned many observers was the sheer amount of everyday media stored on the hard drives. Mixed in with documents of global significance were children's cartoons, viral internet clips, and video games. The collection included movies like Ants, Cars, Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, and Chicken Little, the kinds of films any family might own. There were episodes of Naruto, Dragon Ball, Tom and Jerry, and even the Jackie Chan adventures. Alongside them were viral videos from the early YouTube era, including the classic Charlie Bit My Finger clip. It was surreal to discover that the same drives containing instructions to al-Qaeda affiliates also held crochet tutorials and cat videos. There were also video games and related media. Final Fantasy VII, Resident Evil 2, Devil May Cry, Counter-Strike, and Half-Life 2 all appeared on the drives. While it is unlikely that bin Laden himself was playing these, they may have been used by younger relatives living in the compound. Still, the juxtaposition of al-Qaeda strategy papers and anime episodes was something few would have expected. It offered a glimpse of the strange dual reality inside Abbottabad, a family attempting to maintain a semblance of normal life, even as the man at the center was plotting global terrorism. Not everything could be made public. The CIA confirmed that a collection of pornographic material was found on the drives, though they never released details about its nature. Officials described it as modern and emphasized that it was withheld to prevent misuse. In addition, copyrighted content, malware, and dangerous software were excluded from public release. What was shared with the world was carefully filtered, but even that small fraction was enough to leave researchers stunned by the diversity of the material. For analysts, the most valuable content was not the cartoons or viral videos but the internal communications. Thousands of pages in Arabic provided insight into al-Qaeda's inner workings. Researchers discovered bin Laden was far more micromanaging than many had assumed, sending detailed instructions to subordinates despite being cut off from the outside world. He agonized over media narratives, even suggesting changes to al-Qaeda's logo and public messaging. At the same time, his notes revealed a man increasingly aware of his own irrelevance. He acknowledged that al-Qaeda's brand had been damaged and that younger militants were rallying to new causes beyond his control. What emerged from the archive was not a one-dimensional portrait of a villain, but a complex snapshot of life inside his hideout. On one hand, there was a terrorist leader writing letters about bomb plots and political upheaval. On the other, there was a father and grandfather surrounded by family entertainment, children's movies, and internet culture. The mixture of terror and banality shocked the world because it humanized someone long depicted as almost mythic. It showed that even as bin Laden orchestrated violence, he also lived among family who consumed the same media as millions of ordinary people. The release of these files was not just about curiosity. For intelligence services, they were a treasure trove, providing leads on al-Qaeda's networks, insight into its organizational fractures, and context for the years following 9/11. For historians and researchers, they remain a reminder that the private lives of notorious figures are often more complicated than expected. The bin Laden archive is equal parts dark history and strange time capsule, filled with strategic memos, children's cartoons, internet memes, and forbidden files, all preserved on the hard drives seized during that fateful raid in 2011.